The first step in getting your horse on the bit is to realize it's not really what you want to do, because it's not about the bit. What you really want is a horse in good posture, and everything affects posture, and every problem will show up in the reins when the reins are there. And on top of that, the reins are a source of so many problems. So even though it might seem harder to not use the reins to improve your horse's posture, in reality, the more you communicate with your body to the horse's body, the fewer problems you're going to have in the contact. So you want to start by prioritizing trust, communication, and balance, and your horse's posture will likely already improve. Then you can think about picking up the reins and establishing a connection with your horse through the reins. So the rest of this video is an excerpt from a longer training video that I have in my Dressage Naturally Video Classroom. And this video will show you some of the process of improving a horse's posture without using the reins. And you can try it starting today. So I hope you find it helpful. And if you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. My prerequisite is that her impulsion is balanced. She's going where I ask her to go. She can stop when I ask her to stop. So the go, stop, turn, and the balanced impulsion is there. If you don't have enough of that, then you're going to be so busy working on that, you're not going to be able to think about their posture. And the posture gets better if you just resolve some of those things. But she's a happy little camper doing her whatever walk, trot, and canter. So now the next thing I'm going to play with is, can I create that stretch? So I'm going to go on the circle at the trot, and I'm going to start playing with her to basic alignment exercise, experimenting a little bit to try to find the place where she lets loose and stretches. And then we'll bring it uphill. All right, and you can do this at the walk also, but I'm going to just start at the trot. So now, and I have my neck rope on, I'm going to be thinking of my line of travel. And if she's not stretching, I'm going to start experimenting. I'm going to ask her hind end to go out a little bit, almost like we're going to spiral the circle out. I'm changing my weight a little bit. There we go. And we'll just see if we find a circumstance where she says, oh, I feel balanced, I feel like stretching. So I don't have a cue for stretching. There she fell in. Good. The stretching is a result of a circumstance. So right now what seemed to work is I ask with my inside leg for her to shift a little to the outside. And then every time that happens, she stretches, and then I can go into neutral. And I'm trying to embody and mirror that stretch. I have to remind her a little bit here and there, but it's not too bad. Good. And so I might just praise her for that and let her know, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. All right, so I'm really looking for my circle. Good. Same thing, I'm talking to her inside hind leg when she loses it, and that seems to pretty instantly make a difference. Nice. So this side's a little easier for her. I've tried to use this nice long stick to kind of point to where I'm thinking. So I was using my inside leg, but I was also using my seat and thinking of her inside hind leg shifting to the outside. Same adjustment as on the other side, but it was easier to do. And actually on the other side, I felt like maybe it was more the middle of her that needed to step out. Good girl. But you can see with this kind of stretch, like once they hook into it, it just feels good to them. So let me go the other way again. In this direction, it's more of a, hey, hey, this kind of a yield. So I can practice that. Nice. you know, in an easier circumstance there, you know, when there's not much momentum. Hot shot innovation are playing over there. All right, and then I'll just pick up the circle, really focusing on my line of direction because that's going to help her find her balance. That's better already. Good. So I just definitely have to make a little reminder every now and then, like here. Whoops, shift that middle out. Thank you. Shift that middle out. Thank you. I might twist myself a little bit. Maybe that I'm sitting in a place where I could sit in a place that'll make that a little easier. Good. Oh, sweet girl. Nice. So this is what I was thinking. Just at the trot, I only had to do a little version of it, enough to get the change. If you're going around and you're not getting the change, then you need to stop, do that little sideways yield, start again. Don't just go around and around and around and around and around, putting a lot of leg on, asking a part to move, and it's not moving. All right, so this feels like a horse. Now I can think more about my working gaits. So I'm going to go back this other direction and take that alignment that I know causes her to relax her top line, and now I'm just going to see, can I do that and use my posture to bring her more pull high. Whoopsie, not yet, sweetie. Ooh, so more pull high, that's in my body, so I'm going to be sitting up a little differently, but the same idea. Where's that spot? And again, I'm going to she's very distracted today. Come on, sweetie. I'm going to go again to the trot. Your horse might do better at the walk, but I find with her, when we're trotting, she seems to think it's more important. So there she asked to stretch, and I'm just going to encourage her to stay up. So that's where the neck rope can help. Just lift the neck, and I'm still thinking, I want you up, but I still want that feeling of alignment. Good. Where she feels like stretching, but she's at the same time understanding my posture to stay up. Good girl. Getting closer. Good. Still a little yield, neutral, neutral, neutral. A little reminder. Hey, where is it? There. Good. So I'm having to remind a fair amount, or frequently. There, 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 there. Good. Good. Hey, hey, hey. There, 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 there. Not stretching. No, stay there. Good. All right, so now she's starting to get the idea. Good girl. So I'm using the neck rope to kind of confirm. If her neck goes down, I'm like, no, 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 we're right here. Good job. So in this video, I'm being very obvious about when I use the neck rope so that you can see the frequency of the reminders. So in viewing this video, there are some moments when I was in neutral, but still have the neck rope in my hands, and it actually looks like there's more pressure than there really was. So when you're doing this, just make sure that it feels very different between your neutral and your reminders. And this is where, if you had your reins, you might just go, hey, you know, use your reins to help it out and just fluff it up a little bit. Ooh. But then put them back down. Good. Hey, hey. And also monitoring the length of her stride. So I'm also thinking it's not just big, it's organized. I'm feeling for her back feet. Good girl. Good girl. That's it. That's it. That's it. Now, when you're asking your horse to carry their necks with the pull high posture in self-carriage, they might go through a stage where they're doing that, but they're not yet really relaxed in the top line or round. But keep going. Remember to keep talking to the body, because then you will get to, or you want to get to, that moment where they're pull high in self-carriage and have that roundness from the relaxed top line. Remember, that relaxed top line is a result of the engagement, alignment, and balance. So what you're going to find, hopefully, as you start to make some progress in this exercise, is that if you really concentrate on the body, the shape of the neck is, you'll feel the detail. It's sort of an interesting afterthought. Because by the time you get the tempo and the line of direction and their back feet underneath you, they're going to feel good. And then you might think, oh, well, this feels good, but maybe the neck needs to be a little rounder. And then if you wanted to use the reins just to put a little detail there, if they have a habit of carrying their neck in a certain way or their head in a certain direction, it's a tiny adjustment. So many times when there's contact problems, people go to the contact first, but it's not really a contact problem, it's a balance and seat connection and all that other stuff. Okay, so same thing with the canter. I'm going to think pull high. Hey, it could be a little more up. Speed control, line of the circle. Do I feel her feet? And if that's all there, which it is, then I can think, all right, let me just find her in the hind leg. Girl. Think about her outside shoulder. Maybe I need to let her come in off that outside shoulder. That didn't really make it feel better. She feels better when I have my, oh, there. That's a pretty darn pleasant canter. Working canter. Ooh. There it is. 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 Good girl. Good. I'm going to let her stretch here because that was a pretty dramatic change. So again, if I close my eyes, I'd be like, I'm on a circle. She's got a nice rhythm. Speed's the same. Doesn't feel too bad. But when I open my eyes and look at her neck, I'm like, that's not quite through. She's holding a little tension there. But instead of saying, oh, that's a neck problem and fixing it with my reins, I experimented more. So I, at the trot, moving her away from the right leg really helped, but it wasn't helping at the canter. So I thought, well, on the big yield today that was impactful was moving off her left leg. That was the piece that I felt was a little hard. So I did that on this circle. I put my left leg a little forward, moved her shoulder over to the right, a little counter positioning if you want to say. And after I did that, she came through. So that gives me, it makes a little sense. I had to make myself think to do that at the canter. But once I did, if I experimented, she's like, oh yeah, that feels better after I do that. So notice in the next clips how her posture will stay the same as I pick up and let down the reins. So I'm proving to myself that the reins are not creating the posture, but they are there to connect with it and complete the circuit of energy. That's what I mean by freedom inside the connection. So this is one of those exercises that's not so easy to get going, but it makes everything else easier if you can manage to make a little progress here. So the key is to make sure you have the ingredients, that you've done the homework, gotten your foundation good enough, your seat control good enough, and you understand the basic alignment exercise and how to use your posture to talk about pull high versus stretch. And then if you have those pieces, go ahead and play with this because it feels amazing.